Alright, so today we're multiplying polynomials again. So this would be the second part of Module 18. This time, instead of multiplying a monomial with a polynomial, we're going to be multiplying a binomial with a polynomial. And it's pretty much the same steps. We're just going to have to distribute one more term to the polynomial. So because of that, remember the product rule. You need to recall the product rule, which is if you are multiplying two variables that contain an exponent that have the same base, all you would do is add the exponents and keep the base the same. That is the product rule, so you need to remember that for this lesson. All right, so to multiply binomials with other binomials or multiply binomials with polynomials, you distribute each term in the first binomial to each term in the other polynomial, and then combine like terms. And so make sure you write that down. Now this next part, you can use something called the FOIL method to do this, and I'll show you what the FOIL method is just so you have an example of it in your notes. But I find it easier to just distribute each term in the first binomial to each term in the other binomial instead of doing the FOIL method, especially since you can't really do the FOIL method if you're multiplying a binomial with a trinomial or a binomial with a polynomial. So it's just as easy to just distribute each term in the first binomial to each term in the second. But I'll do an example with both, using the FOIL method and just distributing. So example one, I'll do using the FOIL method. So FOIL, F stands for first terms. So what you would do if you're doing the FOIL method is you would take the first term of each binomial and multiply them by each other. X times x is x squared. That's a product rule. Our exponents are 1 and 1, so it would be x squared. O stands for outers. So the outers would be these in red. Okay, so what you would do next is you would multiply the outer two terms, and that would be x times 4, which is 4x. So that's plus 4x. Then the I in FOIL stands for inners. So what you would do is you would multiply these two inner terms, which is, let me go this way instead, 2 times x, and 2 times x would be 2x. And then the L in FOIL stands for last, so you would multiply these two last terms, and 2 times 4 is 8, so it'd be plus 8. And that's the FOIL method. Then you combine like terms. It looks like we have this 4x and this 2x that we combine. So our final answer would be x squared plus 6x plus 8, and this would be a trinomial. Couldn't do anything else to that. All right, now instead of doing the FOIL, let's just distribute. Okay, so if we're multiplying these two binomials, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take this term and distribute it to each of the terms in the second binomial. So that's this one and this one. Okay, so 2x times x is 2x squared, because x times x, both of them have an exponent of 1, so the product will be 2x squared. Okay, then 2x times negative 5 would be negative 10x. Then, once we've distributed the first term to both of those other terms in the second binomial, you would need to go and move on to the second term and distribute this to each of the terms in the second binomial. So 1 times x is x, and 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Then you would simply just combine the like terms, and your final answer would be 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. So what about if you get something that looks like this? Well, x plus 4 squared, just remember what that means. That's repeated multiplication. So for example, if we had x squared, that just means x times x. If we had 3 squared, that just means 3 times 3. If we have x plus 4 squared, that just means x plus 4 times x plus 4. That's all that means. So x plus 4 squared is going to be x plus 4 times x plus 4. And then we would just distribute. We take the first term of this binomial and multiply it by each of the terms in the second binomial. So x times x is x squared, and x times 4 is 4x. Then we take this term and multiply it and distribute it to each of the terms in the second binomial. So 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 4 is 16. Then we would combine like terms, and if we do that, we'd get our final answer, which is x squared plus 8x plus 16. That would be our final answer. And this is why I don't particularly like the FOIL method too much. It wouldn't work when we're multiplying a binomial with a trinomial. So what will work is just distributing. So what we're going to do this time, since we're multiplying a binomial with a trinomial, is, you guessed it, distribute. Distribute to each of the 3 terms in the trinomial. So if we have this x, we need to distribute it to the x squared, to the 3x, and to the negative 6, all 3 terms. X times x squared is going to be x to the 3rd power. That's 2 plus 1, 3, and with the exponents. X times 3x is going to be plus 3x squared. And then x times negative 6 is negative 6x. And then you get your second term here, and you multiply it by all 3 terms in that trinomial. So 4 times x squared is plus 4x squared. 4 times 3x is plus 12x. And 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Then you would combine like terms. We have a 3x squared here and a 4x squared here. We have a negative 6x here and a 12x there. So if we combine these terms, we get our final answer, which is x to the 3rd power plus 7x squared plus 6x minus 24, because 3x squared plus 4x squared is 7x squared, and negative 6x plus 12x is positive 6x. And that would be your final answer, this polynomial here. And that's where we're going to stop. So make sure you have all of these examples in your notes. I will be checking these tomorrow. And that's it. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.